1. The Whispering Woods. In the heart of a dense forest known as the Whispering Woods, there was a legend that sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it. The story was passed down through generations, warning travelers to stay away from the old cabin that stood abandoned in the deepest part of the woods. Many years ago, a family had lived in that cabin. One night, they vanished without a trace, leaving behind only eerie whispers that echoed through the trees. It was said that the spirits of the family still roamed the woods, searching for their lost home. One moonless night, a group of friends decided to brave the legend and find the old cabin. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they heard strange whispers all around them. Turn back, double quotes, the voices seemed to say. But the friends pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. Finally, they found the cabin, its windows dark, and its door slightly ajar. With trembling hands, they pushed the door open and stepped inside. The air was cold, and the room was filled with the faint sound of whispering. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them, and the whispers grew louder and more urgent. The friends tried to leave, but the door wouldn't budge. The whispers turned into desperate cries, and the room seemed to close in on them. In a final act of desperation, they called out, "We're here to help, show us the way." The whispers stopped abruptly, and the door creaked open. The friends fled the cabin, never to return. They later learned that the family's spirits had been trapped, unable to leave the woods. By showing compassion, the friends had freed them, but the legend of the Whispering Woods lived on, warning others to tread carefully. 2. The Phantom Hitchhiker. On a long winding road that stretched through the countryside, there was a tale of a phantom hitchhiker that haunted travelers. The story began many years ago, when a young woman named Emily had been hitchhiking home late at night. She was picked up by a kind-hearted driver, but before they could reach her destination, they were in a tragic accident that claimed Emily's life. Since then, it was said that Emily's ghost roamed the road, seeking a ride home. Drivers who stopped to pick her up would see a young woman in a white dress standing by the roadside. She would get into the car, and after a brief conversation, she would vanish, leaving behind only a chilling sense of unease. One stormy night, a man named Jack was driving home. When he spotted a young woman in a white dress, standing in the pouring rain. Feeling sorry for her, he pulled over and offered her a ride. She got into the car and thanked him, her voice soft and distant. As they drove, Jack asked her where she was headed, but she only replied, "Home." He glanced at her, and for a moment, he thought he saw a flicker of sadness in her eyes. Suddenly the car hit a pothole, and when Jack looked back at the passenger seat, the young woman was gone. His heart raced, and he pulled over to the side of the road, unsure of what had just happened. The next day, Jack told his friends about the encounter, and they explained the legend of the Phantom Hitchhiker. Realizing that he had met Emily's ghost, Jack felt a chill run down his spine. From that day on, he never drove that road at night again, and the story of the Phantom Hitchhiker continued to haunt those who heard it. 3. The Haunted Lantern. In a small secluded village, there was an old lighthouse that had long been abandoned. The villagers spoke of a ghostly lantern that could be seen glowing from the lighthouse tower on stormy nights. The legend told of a lighthouse keeper named Thomas, who had tragically lost his life while trying to guide a ship to safety during a fierce storm. Thomas's spirit was said to haunt the lighthouse, his lantern forever burning in a desperate attempt to save the lost ship. The villagers warned each other to stay away from the lighthouse, especially during storms, as the ghostly lantern was a sign that Thomas's spirit was restless. One fateful night, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the lighthouse. Ignoring the villagers' warnings, they made their way up the winding path to the tower. As they reached the top, they saw the ghostly lantern flickering in the darkness. The air was thick with tension, and the sound of the storm outside seemed to grow louder. Suddenly, the lantern's light grew brighter, illuminating the room. The teenagers saw a shadowy figure standing by the window, holding the lantern high. One of them called out, "Thomas, we mean no harm. We just want to understand your story." The figure turned slowly, and for a moment, they saw the anguished face of the lighthouse keeper. The lantern's light flickered, and the figure vanished. Terrified, the teenagers fled the lighthouse, their hearts pounding. They later learned that by acknowledging Thomas's story, they had brought him a measure of peace. The ghostly lantern was never seen again, but the legend of the haunted lantern lived on, reminding the villagers of the importance of honoring the past.